Hello and welcome to Teach Christ International. I'm your host, Ruth Gerubo. So today we want to look at an aspect of practical geography, and that is photo work. So when you're asked what is a photograph, what is a photograph? This is basically an image that has been cast on a photographic film, the one which is photosensitive, using a camera. And when you talk about photo, you realize there is presence of light to ensure an image is formed. So under photo work, you need to know how to draw a sketch, and for you to be able to draw a sketch, you need to divide your photo into three main parts. So we have the foreground. This is the first part that is nearest to you as you read it. Then we have the middle ground, and we have the background. The background is the farthest end. Another thing that you need to know about photo work is the different types of photos. We have both ground and aerial photos. Ground photos are the ones which have been taken from the ground, while aerial have been taken while on air. So basically it could be from a spacecraft, maybe you're using a drone, helicopter, a satellite, name it. Another thing under photo work that you need to know is interpretation. And when talking about photo interpretation, basically it's trying to make sense out of the image that you're seeing here. For example, on the image here, it is a photo of a lady. She's smiling, and you can see behind we have some grass, we have some trees. So you can even conclude on the type of maybe vegetation that is there. We can see it's a planted forest at some point, because the trees appear to be in a row. At the same time, we can conclude that this place could be wet because the trees are green, they are tall. You can see there's some grass there, so you can make sense out of it. Even using the shadows, you can tell the time that it was, you see. Another thing that you need to know are the various principles of aerial photo interpretation. For example, we have size, we have length, you can talk about hue, you can talk about the color. All these things help us to be able to describe and even make sense of the various objects that could be there. For example, on this photograph, you can assume this is a building because on the side you can see something that is rectangular, then it has a prismatic roof. At the side you can see it's like it's a forest, next to the crescent. So you can make sense from photos. At the same time, you need to be able to define the various kinds of photos. So let's begin with the ground photographs. Underground photographs, we have three main photographs. The first one is a close-up. Like here you can see you get to focus on a particular item. Like here I was focusing on the petals of the flower. You can see the background is blurred. You can't tell what was it, sun, was it people behind, but you can tell the focus was on the flower. And ground close-ups are majorly taken by people when you want to focus on something And this is a very helpful skill, especially if you're into marketing. Maybe you're selling your brands, you want your clients to have an exact view of what you're selling, so a ground close-up will work for you, especially in food photography as well as the textile industry. Another type of photograph that we have underground is a ground it's a ground general view. So for ground general view, it gives us a wider view of the surrounding area. For example, here you can see on the diagram, the cattle appear bigger because they're on the foreground. On the middle ground, the items are starting to diminish in size. You can see like a mountain is a big or a hill. It's a big feature, but it's appearing really small. So that's how a ground general view is. You can see at the farthest background we have even the sky. Yeah, that's how a ground general view appears. Then we have a ground oblique. These are photos that have been taken from the ground, and to be particular on a raised ground. Like here, this photo I took it from my grandmother's place in Kisii, Nyaronge. Yeah, so you could see that is the Kipkepe tea plantations. You can see the forest there, the middle ground. Yeah, you can see some land that is untilled. You can see on the background we have some elements. So basically, using with the ground oblique, you're able to have an overview of the area from the top. Yeah, so a good example is when you're on top of maybe a story building and you get to take a photo that and it's from an angle that will be a ground oblique photo. Let's look at aerial photographs. So for aerial photographs, they are taken by planes like this one, or hot air balloons or drones as shown in the following, or a rocket or a satellite. Yeah, like for this hot air balloons, they are filled with air with either hydrogen or helium. Yeah, that helps them to be light and they're able to fly above the earth, and you can take your photographs. So graphic interpretation, as I already said, the act of examining photographic images for the purpose of identifying objects and judging their significance. We have different principles that guide interpretation of images. For example, the location. You can use the size. Here, you can get to estimate the size using standard items like a swimming pool, flag post. You can get to use a football stadium. Yeah, you can also get to use shape. You can also look at the shadow. For example, using the shadow, you're able to even tell the time that is. You can use tone and color. For example, if you see blue, you'll know it's water. You see green, you'll be able to conclude perhaps it's vegetation. You can look at pattern, how the items are organized. You can also use the height and depth, yeah, to interpret. You can also look at the site or situation or association. For example, let's say if it hurts, we have huts, so you expect close by maybe we should be having washrooms. Yeah. Uh, Another thing, especially in terms of location, we use two primary methods: surveying the field using traditional surveying techniques like a surveyor's chain. You can also use the GPS, that is the global positioning system, which shows the following: latitude, altitude, and longitude of a place. Then you can also collect remotely sensed data of the object. You get to do photo rectification of the image. Sometimes you're not able to even tell the time it was taken, but you get to rectify the image, try to find the size, because at the background you'll be able to see little items, so at least you try to magnify them to be a replica of the object in real life. Yeah. Another thing, when you can also get to estimate length, width, and perimeter with the aid of standard dimensions like a soccer, football, and baseball, like I already said, to determine the image of the unknown object. Yeah. Like I remember in my college life, we used for the wind vane, yeah, the image, and we were able to um, calculate, and it was fun. Like here you can tell on the green land, that is vegetation. Then we have the meandering river there, because the pattern is forming a meander, so you can tell it's a river. There's another straight line we can see there. You can see some pond, you can see some land that's brown. Perhaps it's land that has been tilled and nothing has been planted yet. You can though tell that on your right, towards the vegetation part, those could be buildings because they appear so close together. So we assume they're residential zones. Yeah. You can also get to see the different color. There's green, dark green, jungle green, yellow green. Yeah. Like here we can conclude this. The main economic activity carried here is trade, because you can see very many cars. We have some shops there. You can also see some coconut palms, so one can think it's a coastal city. We have some roads there which are connecting the area. We have residents, because you're seeing different settlement buildings, especially on the left side. There's green vegetation. We have the tarmac. Yeah.